What's good, people? It is Tony the Savant. And before we get started, please like this video, share this video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel as well if you haven't already. Please subscribe to the channel as I drop content daily, go live daily. Stay very busy on the platform. And last but not least, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, as I'm always intrigued to know what you all have to say about these topics. And ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about this recent event of Tyreek Hill, star wide receiver of the Miami Dolphins, being detained by the police officers of, I believe, the Miami-Dade County. Now, if you haven't seen the clips, I definitely implore you all to go check them out. Shout out to Couch Coach, Big Bro Chris and Mally's over there on Couch Coach Live as we dived into this situation in some detail. But I just wanted to give some afterthoughts that I had about it. As far as this whole situation goes, I just want to throw this out there, man. There was nobody in the right in this situation. Of course, the police behave very poorly, and it is on them, especially when they're on the clock, to be a good representation of not just their police department, but the city itself. Because if some cops mess up, man, and then, and they do some crazy stuff, then all of a sudden the whole city got a bad rap. The police of that city have a bad rap. I've seen this movie so many times before, as I am from Chicago, Illinois. So I've met some cool cops out there, and I've also met some not so cool cops. But in these situations, there's always kind of like a generality that's placed on it. One bad apple can definitely ruin the bunch. So I definitely have to say, that the Miami-Dade Police County, I believe that's where these police officers um, work for. That's who they work for, excuse me. But I gotta also say that Tyreek Hill could have conducted himself a lot better. To his credit, he had an interview after the game, and he mentioned that himself. So I'm not gonna dog him too hard, but I just want people to be mindful of, the situations that they find themselves in. Especially a guy like Tyreek Hill, who has a lot of young men looking up to him, a lot of young athletes looking up to him, who could definitely jeopardize their futures if they behave the way he did. Now he's a multi-millionaire superstar wide receiver in the NFL, Super Bowl champion as well. So he's lived out all of his dreams. This is more so a message for the young men that's gonna come up after him and looking up to him. Forgive me for the noise in the back, y'all. Full time daddy, full time entrepreneur. There is no separation of personal and professional for me. The kiddos running around in the back. But anyway, so I just want people to be mindful of that, because Tyreek Hill, he is a good role model. I follow him on his social medias. He's always working with the youth. He's always got something going on where he's mentoring these kids, and I really admire that as a youth mentor myself. So at the same time, there's no correct parties in this situation. Just for the details of the situation, Tyreek Hill was speeding at a very high rate. As there is a clip that shows him speeding past the police officers. I don't even think he saw them. That's how fast he was going. Police officers had to go, they had to speed themselves. I think Tyreek was doing 110. The cop had to do 100 just to catch him. And then from that point on, both parties just behaved very poorly. The police officer, knocked on Tyreek Hill's window very unprofessionally. Obviously he seen you behind him with the lights and all that good stuff. But at that point, Tyreek Hill was not very cooperative with the cops. He was giving them a bit of a hard time, albeit I'm sure he was running late for the game, as this was the first game of the season. This all transpired Sunday morning before the Jacksonville Jaguars and Miami Dolphins game. So I'm sure he was in a rush to get to the stadium and get in his pads and all that good stuff. But um, no excuse for poor behavior, And I think the situation lasted a lot longer than it would have if Tyreek Hill just conducted himself with a little bit more decorum. Now, I'm not saying this is a very touchy subject, especially in the black community, as you know, there's been some tension between the black community and police departments, but there's still a standard and a modicum that you got to live by and stand by. People, I'm sorry, it's just respect begets respect. And most times, especially in my situation, there's only been one time, yeah, one time where I had a very bad experience with the cops, and that's because my buddy was bad mouthing them. So I was collateral damage at that point, So, and he wasn't even doing the most. This happened so long ago, but he was just one of them people. Excuse my language. Very entitled. He came from a single mom home, and his mom gave him the world. Shout out to her. He was like a second mom to me, but he was just very, very pompous, if you will. So we had a bad interaction with the cops because of that. But every other situation I've been in, where I've been pulled over by the cops, where I had to deal with them, as long as you're respectful, man, they'll more than likely be respectful to you. You got to be mindful that they're still human beings behind those badges. But sometimes, most times, when I see these situations go down, not only is the police officer behaving poorly, but the individual themselves is behaving poorly, and then they initiate that. So, being a police officer is a very high tense job. I mean, at the end of the day, their job is to take out the garbage of the society of society. You got to be mindful that cops don't often deal with the better, the better human beings. They're always dealing with the crooks, the criminals, the manipulators, the connivers. So you got to be mindful of that as well. They're dealing with a lot just on their day-to-day job. And I just have a little bit more, I guess, a heart for people, and a little bit more empathy. So I think about these things. And that's why I just felt like, Tyreek Hill was in the perfect position. Well, he still is. He's a great role model, but he kind of fumbled the ball in this situation, whereas he could have handled it a lot better, and really displayed to a lot of young black men how to conduct themselves if they find themselves in a situation where they're confronted by the police. You don't want to be doing that whole back and forth thing. You want to be giving them attitude, because you're gonna find yourself in a similar situation that Tyreek Hill was in. On your face, on your and given all of that going down. Sure, if the police officer, because I believe the police officer that did that, they behaved so poorly that they're on like leave right now without pay. I remember an update from the situation happening, but the officers that conducted this whole thing, I believe they're on leave right now. So, but you got to be mindful. Even if they are going to get into some kind of consequential situation for treating you poorly, you don't want to raise any tensions in the moment. Nothing can happen in that moment. All you can control is that moment. So might as well control yourself, control your emotions, control your behavior. And again, I just feel like Tyreek Hill had an opportunity to really show all of these millions of young men that look up to him how to conduct themselves. But nonetheless, I want to give my commentary just to throw that out there. Um, it doesn't. It is a lot of tension. I understand with law enforcement and the public right now, but that doesn't give anybody any excuse to behave poorly. And like I said, not only did the Miami police in this situation behave poorly, but so did Tyreek Hill. So, and just to make a mention to all of the Miami Dolphin players that were around, I get that situation. I get that situation where you're trying to help a friend, but just for future references, young men out there, young women as well, if you're in a situation where your friend is dealing with the police, just let the police do their job as long as they're not hurting, or doing something crazy. Just don't interfere, at that moment. Not in that moment, because while they're trying to sort things out, you don't want to raise the tensions yourself and make the situation worse for your friend. Just about using some wisdom here, you know what I'm saying? Just about, using some wit about you, and just understanding the being aware, if I could say that, being aware of the situation that you're in. Just handle it, get through it, and get past it. That's what I was always taught. If you find yourself in a situation with the police, just get past it. Kind of, you got to kind of be humble in that situation. But once you get past it, to get on back to your life and deal with the situation afterwards. But I just wanted to give some comments on that. That's all I have for you on this one. This is Tony the Savant. Please like the video, share the video, hit the notification bell. Also subscribe if you have not. My favorite part of all this, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Always interested to know what y'all got to say about these topics. I am Tony the Savant. Peace.